Just go until you can't do any more, guys. It's gonna really start hurting. Oh, okay. Hey guys, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I'm going to show you the 5 best exercises to build your muscles in your upper body. And guys, you need to stick around to the end, because at the very end I'm going to show you my personal little trick that I like to use to basically turbocharge these 5 exercises so that you'll see results much faster than if you did them just the conventional way. Alright, so why 5 exercises to build muscles in our upper body? Well, because I break the upper body muscle groups down into 5 separate distinct groups. Let me go through them real quick, and then we'll go in and do every single exercise. I'm going to show you the form, and at the very end, of course, I'm going to give you my little trick, all right? So, the 5 major muscle groups of your upper body are your chest, your back, your shoulders, your biceps, and your triceps. Hence, we need 5 different exercises so that we can target each one of those major muscle groups. All right, the very first one I'm going to start off with today is going to be targeting our chest. Now guys, there's lots of different exercises for your chest. I'm going to be showing you how to do an exercise that I really like to do at home, and it's done with bands. Now, right now I have the anchor in the high position, all right? You can do chest flies with the bands high anchor, mid anchor, or even low anchor. It doesn't really matter. When you move the anchor position, all it does is change the emphasis that you're targeting your chest with, all right? So today I'm going to start with a high anchor, okay? Now guys, remember, this is going to be a fly movement, not a pressing movement, all right? And I like doing these because this closely represents going to a gym and using one of those big expensive cable crossover machines, all right? Those things are many thousands of dollars. These bands are about 30 bucks off of Amazon. You can accomplish very, very similar results. Now, because it's at the top here, and because I got a lot of resistance on here, you're gonna have to really kind of lean forward and have a nice wide base. Now, the other thing is, I'm not gonna lock my elbows out. Don't do this, all right? I want you to have a little bend in your elbows, and try to keep that bend, okay, that angle, consistent throughout the full range of motion, all right? So really what I'm gonna do is just really focus on squeezing and controlling. And at the bottom of the movement here, right here, if you push your hands together, really squeeze them hard, you can add more tension to your chest than just the bands alone, okay? So I want you to get a nice full range of motion, all right? You get your arms back here so that your elbows are slightly behind your back, and then all the way until your knuckles touch at the bottom, and squeeze those handles together, all right? So guys, I'm not going to tell you how many to do. This is not a workout program per se. I just want to show you 5 fantastic exercises to hit every single muscle in your upper body, guys. And these chest flies are fantastic. Okay, now the second exercise today, we're going to be targeting our triceps. Now, a lot of you guys out there totally forget your triceps. You think, man, I got to have a big biceps. You'd like to do lots and lots of curls, you know, curls for the girls. But most of y'all don't realize that your triceps are actually a bigger muscle group than your biceps. And so you're really defeating the purpose if you want big arms, right? Because that's what we're always looking for, right? So you cannot neglect your triceps. It's a muscle group that you don't typically see when you're looking in the mirror, okay, so much, especially when you're doing this, but I promise, guys, that bottom part of your arm here is huge. And if you build your triceps up, your arms will look fantastic when you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, even if you're not flexing or pumped up. So guys, this is really important. And this is probably my favorite exercise for triceps. So this is almost exactly identical to what I do at the gym with cable machines, all right? It's very, very effective. Now, you have to have a high anchor position here. We're gonna get down on our knees, all right? And I'm gonna get my elbows in close to my side, all right? And literally, I'm just going to try to keep my upper body still. All I'm gonna do is push the handles down until I lock my elbows out. All the way down, lock out, and then all the way up. Now the goal, guys, is to try to keep your upper body pretty still and to try to keep those elbows as close as you can to the side of your torso without moving them around, okay? And then look at the tempo, guys. So when you get to the bottom here, lock those elbows out and really squeeze those triceps. Lock and squeeze. And just like when I was doing the cable flies, when you get to the bottom, remember I was squeezing at the bottom of the movement? When you squeeze, that creates an isometric movement, so you're actually adding more resistance to the muscle fibers. When you're squeezing, same thing with these tricep pushdowns. When you push them down and you lock out your elbows, if you really flex and squeeze that tricep, you're adding more resistance than just the bands alone. So don't forget those triceps, guys. All right, let's move on to the third muscle group and hence third exercise. This is a lat pull down, which is targeting our back. All right, these are your lats here. But even though it's called a lat pull down, it really activates tons of other muscle groups in your back. All right, you got your rhomboids and your traps, teres minor, teres major, infraspinatus, supraspinatus. There's tons of these little tiny muscles in your back that overlap. They're multi-layered, all right? So it's called a lat pull down, but really it activates a ton of muscles in your back. And guess what? Your back is big and strong, all right? Which means you're gonna need a lot of bands. So I have all of my bands hooked up, all 5 colors, all right? And then we need a lot of pre-tension, right? So at the beginning of the movement, I don't want the bands to be loose. I want them to already be kind of stretched, all right? So there's already resistance. So instead of getting down on our knees like we did for tricep pushdowns, you're gonna have to get all the way down on your butt. You're gonna have to lower yourself, which means, all right, you already got some tension on these bands, guys, right? That's what we need. We need lots of tension because this muscle is a big, strong muscle group. All right, this is an exercise where you really need to focus on that mind-muscle connection. Otherwise, you're just not really gonna feel it. So I am really thinking about just bringing my elbows back. I'm not really worried about my hands or the handles so much. I'm trying to see how far back behind my back I can get those elbows. And at the same time, trying to stick your chest out. It's almost like arching your back so your chest goes forward and your elbows come back. And then to make it even more difficult, guys, hold it at the bottom of the movement for a 1 or 2 count. So 1, 2, up, slowly down. 1, 2, up. Stick that chest out and then control these bands, all right? All right, guys, exercise number 4. We're moving away from the bands and we're moving to dumbbells now. We've already hit our upper arm, our tricep. Now we're gonna focus on the front part of our arm, the bicep, the sexy one that everybody really likes. But remember, it's still a smaller percentage of your arm than your triceps, all right? But you can't neglect it, all right? Now, there's lots of great bicep exercises, tons and tons and tons of them. And I think most people neglect the concentration curl. And I really do like it a lot because the name, concentration, you can really get that mind-muscle connection going with this particular exercise for your bicep, I think better than any other bicep exercise, all right? So first of all, we're only doing one arm at a time. You're concentrating on one arm, all right? Secondly, I want you to see how I like to anchor my elbow, and you can't do a whole lot of weight, all right? So you can anchor your elbow to the inside of your thigh. I like to put my off arm hand right there, and I put my elbow kind of in the crook of where my thigh and my hand are, okay? Now, you have to be sitting high enough up that at the bottom, when your arm's straight, the dumbbell's not hitting the ground. So you have to have a high enough platform, a chair, a coffee table, a couch, whatever, all right? So I'm straight out here at the very bottom of the movement, and I'm not hitting the ground, and I'm literally curling the dumbbell up. Now, one thing, notice guys, at the bottom of the movement, my hand likes to be right here. And at the top of the movement, I rotate my hand so that my palm is facing straight up. All right, so I'm in a neutral grip position here, and as I come up, I like to rotate it. Now look at the tempo here, guys. So I'm not swinging. This is what I see people do all the time at the gym. All right, that is not concentrating, okay? So next side here, left arm, the bottom. When I bring the dumbbell up, I rotate it slightly, okay? So that my palm is facing straight up. And guys, it's the tempo is really critical at the top of the movement. Just control the weight. Don't let it drop back down. Don't let it fall. Control that downward movement. That's the eccentric part of the movement. This is concentric going up. The eccentric part, the lowering of the weight on any exercise, not just this one, is just as important as the concentric part when your muscle is actually shortening. So guys, a lot of people don't realize that. They tend to let the weight just fall back down and not control it. So this concentration curls is so effective, guys. It's incredible. I see some really, really big, serious bodybuilder guys. I mean, just crazy jacked guys. They love doing this exercise, and you would be surprised at how little weight they do. These guys typically are using 30, 35 pounds, and they're just going real slow, when in reality, they could probably do 60 pounds, all right? But their form would really suffer. And these guys are so big, they don't care about their egos. They're all about just building muscle. So you and I need to be careful and not ego lift, all right? Especially at home, there's nobody looking, right? So nobody cares how much you're lifting. It's when you go to the gym and people like me or these young guys that aren't, you know, they're too worried about people looking at them, the girls, they're trying to lift too much weight and their form suffers. And when your form suffers, basically, you don't engage the muscle fibers nearly as well as when you're doing better form with a lighter weight, and that's where you really see the results. All right, so the last exercise, fifth exercise, is of course the last muscle group that we really have not targeted yet, and what is that? Shoulders. Shoulders are just a fantastic muscle that really improves the look of your physique. And I promise a lot of you guys are neglecting your shoulders. And the reason I say it looks so good, it really helps with your physique, because the first thing that your eyes are drawn to when you're looking at a guy, from front, from behind, is the width of their shoulders relative to the width of their waist. It's something just your eye just instantly notices, okay? It's that ratio, okay? And so if you have big shoulders, when you're wearing a shirt, you're gonna look real wide, and even if you're carrying a few extra pounds of belly fat, guess what? It makes your stomach look smaller because your waist, or because your shoulders are wide. Everything's relative, okay? And so this is a great muscle group to hit hard, okay? And this is a muscle group I like to hit hard. I get an incredible burn. And when I say burn, it's that lactic acid, you know, that's really building up during every set. Now, my shoulders are really good. I don't have problems with mobility, okay? Now, I know a lot of guys out there that are getting older have a hard time doing this sometimes, okay? It starts to bother them, even if they're not doing any weight. They just, something about, they have a shoulder injury. So this is a great exercise for you guys that don't have full range of motion, especially when you start adding weight. So these are called lateral raises, okay? Now you can't use a lot of weight here, guys. And the other thing is, don't lock out your elbows. You're gonna have a slight bend in your elbows, just like when you're doing those chest flies, okay, with the bands. So I start with my hands in a real kind of neutral position, and I'm gonna focus on bringing my elbows up, all right? I don't want my hands higher than my elbows. I want my elbows to come up, and when that happens, it just kind of brings your hands and your dumbbells along with it, okay? So look, the form here, guys. I'm not doing this. Boy, I see guys do this. That's so much easier. They just use their back and they use momentum to get the dumbbells up. So I'm trying to stay still, upper body, and literally just bring those elbows up. See how I have a nice bend in my arms? And you don't need to go any higher than this, guys. All right? So You do these correctly, and I promise, guys, you're going to really start to feel a burn there. And that lactic acid, of course, goes to your brain. It sends signals to your body. It says, you know, muscle fibers are being torn down and we need to ramp up our body's production of testosterone. And of course, that's what we're looking for. But this is a fantastic exercise for really growing our shoulders, which makes our waist look a lot skinnier. All right, so you stuck around to the end, which means I owe you my special secret on how to turbocharge your results and get muscle building much, much quicker using the same exact exercises, okay? But this is the trick, guys. It's called drop sets. A lot of you guys might have heard or seen or done these before, but I really recommend that you work them into your daily workouts, okay? Now, this is kind of an extreme set we're about to do here, which means we're just really going to overtax the muscles. And that means we can't do every single set as a drop set. Typically what you like to do is the last set of an exercise would be your drop set. Okay, so let's say you're doing 4 sets of chest. Your fourth set might be a drop set. Same thing with shoulders, same thing with biceps, triceps, doesn't matter, back, okay? So don't do every set as a drop set. You'll kill yourself, all right? So let me show you how to do this. First of all, the form doesn't change, okay? So I'm gonna be doing lateral raises, okay? I'm just gonna show you how to do a drop set. Now I have these really cool, quick adjustable dumbbells here, all right? It makes it easy to drop the weight or pick a different weight with very, very little time in between. So you guys might have multiple dumbbells. You might have a set of 20s, a set of 15s, a set of 10s, right? You just put them down, pick up the lighter weight. I'm gonna show you how to do them with adjustable, okay? So you go through your normal set, all right? I wanna get, 8 to 10 reps here. I'm gonna get near failure. You don't have to go all the way to failure, especially on a drop set, on the very first one. All right, so you get to a point where you're thinking, man, I could probably only do one more. After this one, boom, you stop without any rest. Come down here, I'm gonna drop the weight to a slightly lower weight, and then I keep doing the exercise. 2, 3. I want you to do them until you get close to failure. You can only do about 1 or 2 more. Man, my shoulders start to burn, and then boom. All right, no rest. Come over here, we're gonna drop the weight again. All right, same thing, guys. All right, now this is the second time we've dropped the weight. This would be called a double drop set. Now you can go all the way to failure, man. It's starting to burn. Just go until you can't do any more, guys. It's gonna really start hurting. Okay, now, okay, you're done. That's considered a double drop set. So we did a set with our starting weight, our normal weight that we would do. We get almost to failure, lower the weight, drop the weight, okay? Do some more reps until you get close to failure. And close to failure might be only 5 reps, or it might be 8 or 9 reps. It kind of just depends, okay? Then you drop the weight again, the second drop. Now, the second time you dropped it, I want you going to failure, all right? Keep going. You can't do a single more rep. Like there's a guy with a gun holding it to your head, all right? Now that, guys, is really gonna burn those muscles out. You're gonna get a ton of lactic acid. Basically, you're going to complete total failure, total fatigue. And that is a fantastic way to turbocharge your results with any of these exercises I showed you today. It'll really speed things up. But remember, guys, don't overdo it, okay? Just 1 drop set per exercise. And then, guys, it ain't gonna happen overnight, right? You gotta stick with it and never give up on yourself.